Welcome you all in this online science tutorial classes. Here we will discuss the chapter tissue. We will discuss the chapter in two portions, that is part 1 and part 2. In part 1 we will discuss about plant tissue. So in this chapter first we will first we will define what is tissue. So tissue is the group of cells which is specialized for different functions. If we talk about tissues parts, so tissue is of two types. Number one, plant tissue. Number two, animal tissue. In this part 1, we are going to discuss about plant tissue. So here is total description is about plant tissue. So one by one in systematic manner, we will go through it and we will discuss one by one each definition. So number one, plant tissue. As you know, the main difference between plant and animal is animals shows locomotion, but plants are stationary. So in the plants, the tissue is responsible for growth and maintenance and also provide mechanical strength. Plant tissue is of two types, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. The main difference between meristematic tissue and permanent tissue is meristematic tissue. It has the ability to divide throughout life, but in permanent tissue they lost ability. It means they are permanent. It is also a form of meristematic tissue which lose the ability of dividing. So first we will discuss about the meristematic tissue and their types. So meristematic tissue is of three types. Number one, apical meristematic. Number two, lateral meristematic. And number three, intercalary meristematic. So number one, apical meristematic tissue. As the name apical, it means top. So this tissue is found on the tips of root and stem. And according to its work, it is responsible for the growth of root and stem of the plant. Number two, lateral meristematic. Lateral means side. The tissue which is present at the side of the plant. It means it is responsible for increasing the circumference of the plant. It means middle part of the stem. Number three, intercalary meristematic. It is present at internodes. For your better understanding, you can see the figure. You can see the branch of the plant. Apical meristem. This shows lateral meristem and this shows intercalary meristem. Now, I'm going to give you a demo. The real example, you can see this plant branch. So this is the apical part. This one you can see the apical part, right? So here the apical meristem is present. Now you can see the circumference, the width of the stem, right? Width of the stem. So here the lateral meristem is present. And you can see the internode. I think you have the confusion for the what is internode. So you can see where the leaves are attached to the stem. You can see, right? So these are the internodes. So here the tissue is present, that is called intercalary meristem. Now come to the second part of the plant tissue, that is known as permanent tissue. As the name permanent, it means it is for a long time. It loses the ability to divide. It means it do not show the division of the cell. So permanent tissue is of two types, simple permanent and complex permanent. Simple permanent tissue, it means simple. So it is made up of single type of cell. And complex permanent, it has the complex structure. So it means it is made up of more than two types of cells. So one by one we will go through it and discuss. So simple permanent is made up of three type of tissues like parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma type of cells. So number one is parenchyma. So parenchyma, it is the group of living cells. So it is living, so it has thin cell wall. But between the cells of parenchyma, the large intercellular space is present, right? Parenchyma is also made up of two types of cell. It means it has two types of cell like chlorenchyma and aerenchyma. Chlorenchyma, as the name chlorenchyma, it means they have the chlorophyll. So it perform photosynthesis and responsible for food making. Number 2, aerenchyma. Aerenchyma, it means it has air cavities and it is present in aquatic plants and it helps the aquatic plants to float in the water. Number 2, collenchyma. Collenchyma, it provides flexibility and you can see the figure. Here you can see the deposition of material at the irregular corners of the cell. You can see. So it provides flexibility and mechanical strength also to the plant. It is made up of cellulose. Its cell wall is made up of cellulose and deposition is pectin. Now number 3 is sclerenchyma. As the name it is made up of dead cells. You can see the deposition of the material on the cell wall. It is very thick deposition, right? And the material is lignin, which is very hard, look like a cement of the cell wall, right? It provides mechanical strength to the plant. It is, you can see the brown color, brown part of the plant. For example, the fiber of coconut. The fiber of coconut, you can see it is made up of totally dead cells and form of sclerenchyma. Now, we will go towards complex permanent tissue. As I already told you, it is made up of more than 2 types of cells. Here, you can see that the 2 types are given like xylem and phloem. It forms the vascular bundle and it helps in the transportation of water and nutrients in the plant. Xylem, you can see the xylem. Xylem is made up of 4 types of cell. Xylem tracheids, xylem vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers. Except xylem parenchyma, all types of cells are made up of dead. Or you can see all except xylem parenchyma, all cells are dead in xylem. And xylem is responsible for transportation of water. With the help of the xylem, the process of transpiration happens in the plant. It is responsible for the process of transpiration. Number 2, phloem. Phloem, it is responsible for transportation of food and this process is called translocation. Translocation, right? Phloem is also made up of 4 types of cells: sieve tube cells, companion cells, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. It is just opposite of xylem. It means except phloem fiber, wherever you will see fiber, it means it is made up of dead cell. So except phloem fiber, sieve tubes, companion cell and phloem parenchyma it is made up of living cells and phloem fibers is made up of dead cells. And I already told you phloem is responsible for transportation of food. As you know, chlorophyll, it means leaves, are known as the kitchen of the plants. So phloem transport the food or nutrients from the leaves towards the different parts of the plant. So this is all about plant tissue which we cover in part. So in the part 2 we will discuss about the animal tissue. So let's wind up today's online tutorial part 1. Stay home, stay safe.